So Don, how do you normally use mushrooms? What's your preferred way?
My preferred way are two ways. First is eating them, and digestibility. Yours are very digestible, so it's not as important as say other herbs you've already. Yours are pre-digest. I mean, the extraction process is such that they're why they've been already broken down, as opposed to say taking an herb like stinging nettle, which I do, and drying it and powdering it.
Hmm.
Basically, you've just got leaf there. You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
somewhat digestible, but it's not as digestible as yours. It hasn't already been alchemically processed to a place. But even with yours, I like to take it in some kefir and some.
Mm.
I sometimes put a bit of yogurt in with the kefir just to make it a bit more flavorful, and put more of the different spectrum of bacteria in there, because kefir is a transient bacteria. It always needs to be put in. It doesn't take up residency. Whereas lots of the yogurts are resident bacteria. They inhabit the colon and stay there. So you're kind of always wanting to put these in there. But they've
Right.
done a lot of studies with like ginseng, for example, Siberian ginseng, and there's products called genocides in there
Hmm.
that they found if people didn't have the healthy bacteria in their gut, they didn't absorb it. So
Yeah.
that's kind of my favorite way. But secondly, I love tinctures, and you know, your product's kind of a cheat because you don't really need the tincture; you just need to mix it with some alcohol.
Yeah. No, you
you
could.
know, it's normally I make a tincture is to soak it in alcohol
Hmm.
for a period of time, and you're doing you're getting the stuff out of the leaf, and then you press it. Well, you've already done that through your extraction processes, either through water and alcohol, so you don't have to do that. But sometimes it's convenient to have the tincture, um, especially when you're making it with other blends and stuff. So sometimes I'll make a tincture even out of your product, and then I just have it there for. But generally, I don't, because I don't recommend people using alcohol if they don't have to. It's used
It's
as certain
preservative,
herbs.
right? And
Yeah.
it's like, well, it's
Well,
going to
it's
pull out the
it's
insolubles,
good.
but
They're going
then
to pull
it's
out,
like,
like, yeah, the triterpenes are not going to come out in water. They're just
yeah,
not. Yeah,
yeah,
they're
there's going to be a small amount, but yeah,
yeah.
primarily they're all
Primarily, they're going to be
insoluble.
they're insoluble. So
Yeah. And then it does, it's acting as when you do your finishing part of that, it's going to act to keep it shelf stable too with the
yeah,
alcohol.
yeah. So how do you take mushrooms?
Usually take them in my coffee.
Ah,
So yeah, I usually add whatever I have on hand. I think this morning was turkey tail and lion's mane. And then I'm a big fan of the butter coffee. So coffee, butter, a little bit of coconut oil and mushrooms, and blend it up. And that kind of gets me to probably 10 or 11 o'clock. So don't really eat anything in the morning, and then have a
cool.
decent sized breakfast and a lunch fairly quick after that. So yeah, it's almost like a mini fat, not a true fast, but at least from
Yeah,
solids.
a lot of my other herbs I use in coffee. I just it's like
Easy one, right?
complete. Yeah, it's a ritual that you do, and so the
Yeah.
hawthorn for the heart, marshmallow, which is a nice sort of soothing thing for the gastrointestinal tract and the kidneys. Especially there are a few, they're not really harsh chemicals in coffee, but they're a little bit irritating, especially so
For
you put a bit
certain
of
people, yeah.
marshmallow in there, and then whatever's the flavor of the day, what other herbs I've been using, I can just put them in my coffee.
Yeah. Like the reishi pairs well. It's got that bitterness to it.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Chaga is pretty good too. It's got those earthy, almost chocolatey tones. So yeah, definitely. Yeah. When you have whatever your daily ritual is, whether if it's coffee or if it's tea or even like a smoothie or something like that, just makes it an easy way to add it to an existing routine, so that it becomes routine.
So pairing, like I talked about it in the panel, but I'll mention it again, especially this video will go to my students and members of my community, is that these mushrooms have often a lot of, like reishi, for example. Like I've got a mind map here that, I don't know if you can, my love of mind mapping, and I know
Oh,
you can't read
cool.
it, but it gives you an example. And that's just on the reishi, so first is Wu Kei Wookiee, or I don't know how you say that, Wiki. I mean, the beautiful thing about something like Reishi is that it enhances our key energy. I don't know if that's how you say it, but it's some herbs they found, and they call them, they have a name in Ayurveda for them, that they have a quality that transcends sort of the medicinal aspect. And so Reishi has got that. And it's people got to realize it was only the royalty that had Reishi before we learned how to cultivate it. And people would actually come over to our forests in BC to harvest Reishi because there was lots of it growing here.
Oh, wow.
So basically, so Reishi does the immune system. It does the heart. It works with pain. It's a parasympathetic system. It works with allergies. It works with anti-aging. It works with the liver. And so, it's got this nice spectrum. So as a tonic to be using for longevity, it's fantastic. But then say you want to use your Reishi, but it works with the lungs too. Excuse me, I should have. Works with the lungs. So if you want to really work with the lungs, so you can continue to take your Reishi, but then you take a really specific herb like elecampane, which is the kind of the primary herb, especially if you've got congestion. And then you take your elecampane at the same time you're taking the Reishi. Now this is going to pull the energy of the Reishi into the lung area. So that's pairing it with the herb that you want to the organ. You got the liver, you use something like milk thistle. Then milk thistle will go, it's like, it goes to the receptor sites of the liver. Very interesting, as a relationship to mushrooms, because it's the only thing that we have to counter Amanita poisoning.
Really?
Oh yeah, like it's the only thing that works. It goes in and occupies the receptor sites of the.
It kind of blocks them,
blocks them. Yeah. Otherwise, there's nothing else that'll stop the poisoning of the deadly Amanita. So we're doing it on the positive side of open the liver. Interesting. As I say that, I think maybe it might block it. You might want to use dandelion. I don't think it would, but it's like it's just that kind of interesting thing. But something that targets liver. Also, you can use, and I recommend this a lot, and it's kind of missing now in herbal medicine is use a hot water bottle, or use a ginger compress. Mm-hmm. Bring the blood to the area, or even use your mind. Like take the herb and especially if you're really healing it, somebody has lung cancer. People use these mushrooms for intense conditions. They don't just use them. But if you got something really serious there, then take your medicine and go lie down and put a hot water bottle on your area, and then close your eyes and just breathe into that area and just. There's a book called Cell Talk by Dr. Ledger, and he's proven that we can talk to ourselves and they'll listen. And Bruce Lipton, the same thing, is that we have receptor sites and they respond to chemicals. And you think a thought, you create a chemical. That's just the way the nature of the body. If I get angry, I'll create chemicals. If I get happy, I'll create chemicals.
Completely.
Yeah.
Yeah, the mind is extremely powerful.